Reasons why I don't have a low IQ. I'm depressed and anxious. They say people with lower IQs are less likely to have depression and anxiety, so ignorance is bliss. Another reason is higher IQ people tend to overanalyze and overthink everything, and I relate to that. But I don't think I have a high IQ because I don't relate to the other high IQ traits of being good at IT STEM stuff or doing good at school with good grades flying by through life. I think my IQ can't be measured through these human man-made psychological tests. In fact, I feel like that for everyone's IQ because you can't put a number on intelligence. I'm not low IQ, I'm not average IQ, I'm not high IQ, I'm unknown IQ. Now, obviously, lower IQ people can have depression and anxiety. It's just less likely and it's less talked about. Now, then again, all these posts on the internet saying that like depression and anxiety is more common in higher IQ people, it could just be like generalizations for higher IQ people and lower IQ people that, low IQ people, that ignorance is bliss. They never question anything. That's the thing though. So yeah, people with low IQ never question anything, and I do. My IQ test score is BS, yeah. Because low IQ people, they never really question anything. I mean, again, it is kind of a stereotype. I think it's kind of like ridiculous that I'm kind of a hypocrite here, but like I find it interesting that these average and high IQ people are speaking for lower IQ people in such a broad brush of like generalizations. And I know I'm kind of like feeding into it, but I'm like I'm starting to believe in the stereotypes for low IQ people, but my big brain self says that it's kind of just a bunch of BS. That obviously low IQ people can have depression. There is a part of me that feels like they have higher rates, not necessarily higher rates of depression versus higher IQ. It might be equal, maybe. I don't have any statistics. This has not really been studied that much, that good. But what I'm trying to get at is that I would like to believe that ignorance is not bliss and that that's just a stupid saying, because I hear that all the time on the internet when it comes to low IQ, and I'm kind of just getting sick of it. It's like I almost don't really believe in that saying anymore, that ignorance is not always bliss, that you could still be ignorant. You could even be aware of your ignorance, that you're ignorant to something, but you don't know what that something is, or maybe you do know what it is, like math, and it makes you depressed. People misconstrue ignorance as total ignorance, like you're not even aware that something exists at all. This is coming from someone with a low IQ of 74. I find it funny that some doctor somewhere said I had an IQ of 74 when I tend to overanalyze and overthinking. I'm overanalyzing and overthinking right now about me overanalyzing and overthinking. And I'm overanalyzing and I'm overthinking about my IQ, my low IQ, or just my IQ in general. So what I'm trying to get at is that I might not have a low IQ. I might not. Because I relate to the high IQ traits of overanalyzing and overthinking, and I'm ruminating, and I've always been like that. I've always been questioning things. I'm an INTJ, apparently. I took a test. I should probably retake that. I think if you're into the personality type bull crap, you should retake those tests every once a year to make sure that you're really INTJ, IFL, J, B, T, L, whatever the heck. You should always, whatever the hell numbers you want to add in there, you should always retake those tests to make sure. I took that test on the internet, personality type. It said I was INTJ. I should probably recheck that to make sure. But it's pretty accurate when I read up about it. I'm pretty judgmental. Stuff like that, you know what I mean? I've always, ever since I was a kid, I would always question everything, and I would even question that. I even questioned science facts. Now, people could say that makes you low IQ because you're denying reality. That's true. Like when I questioned Bill Nye and Neil deGrasse Tyson, that is kind of low IQ of me to question scientists and to make. And maybe I'm not truly smart as I am. Maybe this is just all low IQ. Maybe I just really am low IQ. Sorry, I'm moving some stuff. Because they say low IQ is when you're like very solid in a belief system and you never question it. Sometimes I'm like that, but I do have a little wiggle room to accept that I could be wrong about, like, say, the simulation theory. See, the reason why I do relate to low IQ, I gotta keep my voice down because it is nighttime, but the reason why I relate to low IQ is because I do have adaptive behavioral issues. Like, I can't live on my own, even though I'm 31 years old. I have issues doing stuff, man, like math and stuff, and counting money and stuff. So I relate to low IQ people when it comes to that. But I relate to high IQ people and even average IQ people because they tend to question things, and they're more. See, I have a history of, for someone with a low IQ, I'm a pretty weird case because I tend to this could be my schizoaffective or something, but I am obsessed with weird theories, and a lot of these theories are not like totally BS. Like, it's not like I believe in fairies or anything. Like, some of these theories, even scientists are questioning it, like the simulation theory. For someone with a low IQ of 74, why do I have a history on the internet for years of joining these communities on Reddit or even YouTube back when I used to do on my vlogging channel? I used to have a vlogging channel. Questioning life and joining philosophical communities. Like, I was never big into nihilism, but like that would be like, like solipsism. Like, only you exist and no one else exists because everyone and everything is just a projection of your mind. It's an illusion. That I was never a nihilist, but I got into solipsism. Just joining communities like that, like looking up to Friedrich Nietzsche, Zoroaster. I know Friedrich Nietzsche made a book, I think, about Zoroaster, but even outside of that, like Zoroastrianism itself, like religion, getting into religions and stuff, like, not even the mainstream religions, like getting into like New Age and the consciousness, the eternal mind, you live on after death. Questioning those type of things. And low IQ people, a lot of the ones I meet on the internet, don't really think about those things. They just kind of go about the daily motions of life. They're struggling like me. This is why someone brung up the multiple intelligences theory. Yeah, but a lot of people tend to dunk on that. A lot of people tend to like mock that and say it's a bunch of pseudo crap. The multiple intelligences theory, I don't think it is. I think it's the reverse. I think these freaking IQ tests that put a number on intelligence because you answered orange triangle plus green square. What is it, like orange, like green triangle plus orange rectangle equals a banana, like some stupid stuff. And you're telling me that average and high IQ people understand this? This is cultural nonsense. This is cultural delusions. Most IQ tests are based on culture. What if you're not a part of that culture? So it's culturally, like, judgmental IQ tests. Just because you don't know one culture doesn't mean you have a low IQ. There's a lot of cultures that I don't know and I don't understand. It doesn't mean that I have a low IQ. I respect other cultures, but I don't understand some of them because I don't know that much about them. You know what I mean? But I still respect them. Like Hinduism, like, I only know like 1% of Hinduism. I don't know the full-on story of it. Or Buddhism, but it's interesting. It's interesting. Shiva and stuff like that. All that stuff is just the chakras. All that stuff is just interesting to me, but I don't know that much about it. I should, but This is getting a little bit too long. This is going on my album, but yeah, it's just, I don't know, man. I mean, I join these communities of simulation theory, and I join these communities, and a lot of these people are high IQ, Mensa people, and I'm not. You know, especially when you add ASD to my list, because apparently I have ASD, autism spectrum disorder. I don't know if I truly do or not, because I'm not really logical. Even outside of the IQ, I'm not really logical. Maybe it's my schizoaffective. They say people with schizophrenia score low on IQ tests anyways, but that's due to the schizophrenia. Whereas with me, I feel like I always had a low IQ. But now I'm starting to quit. I don't think IQ tests are real. I just think you can't put a number on intelligence. Before, I want to end this video before it gets too long. I just want to close it off by saying, why are people on the internet and people in general taking IQ tests and IQ scores seriously? Because you learn something new every day. So your intelligence is always fluctuating. So I've come to the conclusion that IQ tests are bull crap. IQ tests are BS and IQ scores are BS. Now that's a very unpopular opinion. This could be my schizoaffective talking. This could be my low IQ talking. Maybe I'm just insecure. But no, if you really think about it, because you learn something new every day and you could forget something. You at least forget like one thing every day and you at least learn something new every day. So your intelligence is always fluctuating. It's like temperature. You can't really put a number on it. It's like miles per hour, you know, if you're from America at least. You know, if you're driving a car miles per hour, you know, I'm speaking from America. Right? Over here we have miles per hour, you know, like 200 miles an hour. Miles per hour, that's pretty fast, you know, in America, you know. But it's always revving up. Like intelligence, it's always, you rev it up. You know what I mean? You rev it up. You go a little fast, then you slow down the car. Then you go up, then you know what I mean? That's what it's like, a gas pedal. Your mind is like a gas pedal, man. It's always learning things, and it's always forgetting things, and then sometimes you'll forget something permanently. You get dementia or Alzheimer's, you know? And then you're just you're rolled, and you're shrivel away. So does IQ even matter? You know, even Stephen Hawking said that, you know, like, he basically said that, you know, like, you shouldn't brag about your IQ. Like, that's just so stupid, you know what I mean? That's basically what he said, you know? And yeah, this is getting a little bit too long, but yeah. If I have an unknown IQ. You just can't put a number on my IQ, man, you know? So, I mean, maybe I'm, like, you know, because I have a 74 IQ, maybe it's not actually 74, maybe it's 174, and the psychologist just missed the 100 points by accident. I think I did bad on the IQ test because I got a lot of the math wrong, and I'm not really good at math, and I think that's why. And I've been out of school for a while, and that's a second reason. And the third reason was I didn't even finish high school. You know what I mean? So you gotta combine different factors as to why I failed the IQ test with the psychologist, a real psychologist, apparently. Well, I shouldn't say apparently. He was a real psychologist. He was just kind of he was kind of rude, basically. But I don't want to get into that. But, and then you gotta say, like, apparently I have ADHD, but I don't know if that's even accurate because I was never even given medication for it. They said I had unspecified ADHD, so maybe that's why. I also have a history of depression. I didn't really feel depressed during taking the test, so I don't know. It just could have been like multiple factors as to why I did bad. But either way, this is getting way too long. This is going to be a very long song off the album, if this is even a song. I don't even know if I want to put background noise behind it. I don't know why. I mean, I don't know if I would, what, should, coulda, woulda. I don't even know. I'm just going to end this for now and say that, yeah, I don't know why people take IQ tests seriously and the number, man. I don't get it, man. So am I really borderline intellectual functioning or intellectual disability? Do I really have that? Again, a part of me feels like I do, because I still struggle with laundry and I can't cook certain foods. But a part of me says no, because I think about this big brain stuff. Again, a lot of people could say that you thinking about the simulation theory, that doesn't mean you have a high IQ. That's just your delusions. You're just schizophrenic. But at the same time, I don't know. I mean, I've seen the glitches. I've seen the glitches. I have glitchy. When I say glitches, I'm not being metaphorical. Like I've seen the actual like I've seen auras. You know, like kind of like when you get a migraine, but I don't have a migraine. I've seen actual physical like glitches in the air. Like we live in some kind of dimensional space. Like there's multiple dimensions and stuff like that. I don't want to get into that, but I don't know. I don't care. Nothing is real. Like just nothing is. It doesn't matter because basically nothing is real, so nothing really matters. But I want to kind of be optimistic about it at the same time. So it's like not optimistic nihilism, but more so optimistic, cynical, depressive simulationism. If we even are in a simulation, if not, we're in a It's dimensionism. We're in different dimensions, basically. Well, we're in the third dimension. At least I think we are. Who knows? But yeah, it's just we go to higher dimensions after this. So that's what I believe, and I've always believed in something after death and spiritual stuff, and I've seen it. You know what I mean? I've even heard it too. I've even heard the sounds and the voices and stuff like that. You know. But yeah, like they said, that schizophrenics they score low on IQ tests. But um, I don't know. I don't know. I just think people are jealous that I'm close to the truth of something. You know what I mean? I just want to add, I have to add this, but people can say just because you study bullcrap doesn't mean that you're smart. If you study pseudoscience doesn't mean you're smart. I'm very knowledgeable in mental health disorders and physical health stuff, you know, so I do study real people stuff. I know about mental disorders, even mental disorders that are not even recognized anymore, like multiple complex developmental disorder and schizotypal personality disorder is still recognized, but a lot of doctors in my area don't really know much about it. Apparently I don't have that. I thought I always did, but you know, I study the personality disorders, I study the physical health disorders, I study Marfan syndrome, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, homocystinuria, um, you know, I've been studying stuff like that, you know, um, aortic aneurysm, aortic dissection, just stuff like that. So I'm pretty knowledgeable in this health stuff, you know. So yeah, so my knowledge is somewhat in science. It's not all pseudoscience, and it's not all conspiracies and weird spiritual woo-woo. It's not all of that, but I don't know. I just wanted to add that, so yeah.